The Republic of Angkor has fallen.
The use of star-killing weapons has wiped out trillions of lives of...
With new emergency powers, the Custodians have rallied remaining forces.
Now is the time. We strike back at the heart of darkness and avenge the fallen. Nearly half the galaxy has been destroyed.
Our spies report that the Calthorians have breached the void between our plane and the next.
The engine is nearly complete. With it, the entire galaxy will be destroyed.
Nemesis, a major expansion for the already sprawling Stellaris, has just landed. It adds additional mechanics, events, a ship set, as well as a bunch of music. Become the Crisis, the Galactic Emperor, and stretch your espionage spy master ship with little birds that feed you information and then use said info to lead clandestine operations in enemy empires. So the real question is this worth your time? The main issue with expansions for any PDS game is that we cannot look at them in a vacuum. There's other major expansions that have come before: Utopia, Apocalypse, Megacorp, Federations, and these will be the ones we'll be benching this against. Now, there's also the issue of the patch, which by itself is amazing. There's tons of quality of life features, vastly improved performance, an updated economy, as well as a pop system, as well as a whole bunch of basic operations that are part of the main espionage system that comes with Nemesis. Overall, the patch is it's wonderful. It's beautiful. Then we kind of get to the expansion itself, though. When it comes to the core gameplay content, the expanded espionage mechanics that come with Nemesis are the only thing here that you will have a use for in every single playthrough. Whilst the system in the base game is completely serviceable, the expanded features that come with Nemesis adds ton of new flavor to any empire that you play. You will end up with genuine spy games, infiltration to other empires, undermining their alliances, steal technology, blackmail for favors that can be spent in the galactic community, and it's all there. And it's wonderful. I do love this spy system, and that should not be a feat that should be underestimated. Creating a spy system that has both impact yet is fun to be on the receiving end of is a challenge to design. For instance, no one likes to have their stuff destroyed through subterfuge. Instead, some of your things can be temporarily disabled, which in the grand scheme of things won't really hurt or annoy you. I do wish there would be more events to the system, as it does seem a little bit lacking at this time, but overall it is competent and it's well put together. It's rock solid and a great way to use your envoys on, of which we now get two at the start of the game rather than just the one, but that's patch talk, so let's keep on target. Sadly, the leaders, the envoys, they have not received any overhaul. They're still quote-unquote mini leaders, and even though they are arguably the most utilized characters in the game, they still haven't received any traits, which I personally feel undermines their ability to roleplay, or at least the potential of. It's not the end of the world, of course, but it would have made sense to fit into the system, having a envoy start off as a spy master and then roll them into the diplomatic system later on, learning on the way. It would have been fun, but sadly it is not here. On the other side of the spectrum, though, is the yin-yang relationship of the Crisis and the Custodian. The enemy versus the good guys. Or are they the good guys? Well, that is the real question you gotta ask yourself. Stellaris always had a serious issue in the late game when it came to fun, engaging content. Sure, you could fight a fallen empire, you get into a war of heaven, fight a galactic crisis, and that was pretty much it. It was all very combat orientated. With these new additions, however, they try to offset that relative emptiness by adding an end game of hard versus soft power. The Crisis is a good example of this, and is exactly what you'd expect it to be. You become the galaxy's ultimate bad guy and start destroying stars to fuel your aerophasic engine, the Doomsday Machine. And before you get there, you need to indulge into your inner villain and commit heinous crimes to boost your menace, which is a new resource that is tied to this particular route, which is a Ascension perk. You'll slowly level up said menace, unlock new perks until you've generated enough power to fire your engine of destruction and destroy the galaxy like some sort of Bond villain. It's all very interesting, and it's really a power fantasy. The real question, however, is replayability. As soon as you go down the menace route, you are locked in. You will destroy the galaxy, or you will die. It is one or the other. There is no middle route here. There's no other outcome. Having a more dynamic path would have been fun, plus the pacing of building your Doomsday device feels slightly on the slow side, which is a little bit unfortunate. You do get a whole bunch of new spiffy spaceships though, the Star Eaters that do exactly as advertised. It's fun, but I'm worried about replayability here, which is an argument one could make. It's unfortunate for the amount of time, effort, and clear love that the dev team have put into this system. Because somewhere, somehow, one developer went absolutely mad and came out with this sprawling system that is fun to play, but I'm worried about replayability on this one. On the other hand, though, there's the Custodian. Now, the Custodian is far more flexible when it comes to its ability for replayability. In classic Roman Republic style, the Galactic community, if when at risk, has the ability to appoint what effectively could be called a dictator. It's a Custodian, but it is effectively a dictator, with all the power that comes with that, and you can add your prequel memes here. It gives the Galactic community its own fleet, or at least you can vote for that, and it's basically what Federations already have. It adds a slew of new galactic abilities, such as adding new policing powers, improving already existing mechanics, etc. And you can basically do whatever you want at that stage. Now, you can push through all of these for the betterment of your peers, and at the end, you could make the choice of relinquishing your powers, or go full Caesar and declare yourself Emperor of the Galaxy, with everybody becoming your subjects. Now, there's a whole gameplay mechanic involving rebellions against the Empire, and it's something that any solid space opera would be proud of, because there are so many moments to be had here, and it's so good. The Galactic Domination path feels far more fun and dynamic than the Menace. Sure, you have that power fantasy of the Menace, but the political scheming and maneuvering that you need to do in order to become the Galactic Emperor is wonderful. It really goes into the I am the Senate scenario, and it really takes it up to the next level. And it has endless replay potential, which I think is wonderful. In the end, though, is the advertised price of admission, which is $20, euros, and or a local equivalent, worth the amount of content that you get? I do get the feeling that Paradox wasn't quite sure of this themselves. It is a major expansion, and they do have to set a certain standard, and they've added the Imperial Ship Set to offset these three major features. And this is something that historically was relegated to the Species Pack. Sure, we've had some megastructures and stuff like that that looked absolutely beautiful, but never have we had a ship set being added to a major expansion, which is, it feels kind of weird. In addition to that, there's also finally, after so much time, new music being added, which is something that I personally sorely missed. Music in Stellaris has always been wonderful, and the synth angle, the dark angle that is here is just great. It really channels that inner Vangelis feel that the Muse soundtrack has. It's beautiful. Vangelis is probably one of my favorite artists from the 80s, early 90s. Overall, though, the expansion to me is on par with, say, Apocalypse or Federations. It's a solid addition for players who simply want more Stellaris, and that's what it boils down to. Is it a must-have like, say, Utopia or Distant Stars? No, it is not, but it does add great moments in the end, but I don't feel this is a cornerstone example of an expansion for Stellaris. It is great overall, but it's not right up there. It would need a little bit more in order to make it so. And that's sadly, it sadly has mostly to do with the patch, because the patch is beyond great. I cannot stress this enough, how good the patch is. Still though, patches, they come with expansions, and I feel that Paradox kind of has us in a bind here, because, well, if no new expansions come, no new patches will come. So in order to get more patches, we'll need to continue buying those expansions. In the end, though, it's your decision. If you feel that the content that I've laid out in this particular video, or if you feel my opinion is valid about this, feel free to go and pick it up. I'm sure there is more than enough places out there that will cater to your needs in order to get this expansion. If you, however, feel the need to support the channel, there is a link down in the description below that takes you to the Nexus GG store, my Nexus GG store. You can pick up the expansion there if you would like. It does support the channel directly. We're gonna go and wrap wrap up this review of Stellaris Nemesis here. Overall, it's good, but it's not up there with the best. A lot of love has been put in it, and it shows. Sadly, it could have used a little bit more additional content. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and of course my patrons for making this video possible. I wish you all a wonderful time with Nemesis if you have decided to pick it up. And in the meantime, we're going to go and wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, each other.